You're listening to the What's Up Falcons podcast with Rock, Hoop, Q, Aries Falcon, and keeping it sexy, LG.
Week number 3 has our beloved Chicago Bears traveling down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Falcons. And here to help us preview this Week 3 matchup for our beloved Chicago Bears, we have a crossover episode, a fellow armchair podcast from What's Up Falcons. We got Rock and Q and Aries. We got 3 guests on the show, triple the fun. Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. How you guys doing up there in the Windy City?
Well, I remember we were talking just before I got started recording about the people not being where their team is from. Mm-hmm. I'm that guy as well, because I'm in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now it's Chicago Bear market. We get the Chicago Bear games out here in Cedar Rapids. Right. I am born and raised from Chicago, but life took me out here. Okay. So I'm in Iowa, about 4 hours from home. So, but it's good, trying to get rid of this summer weather. Right. But, so I can turn off the AC. Yeah. We're still having our 80-degree days and our typical Midwestern humidity. So looking forward to getting rid of that. Yeah.
That's crazy because it's cold in Atlanta right now.
Cold in Atlanta? What's cold in Atlanta?
Tell them, Q. It's in the 60s right now.
That's cold?
For Atlanta?
Yeah, that's cold because normally we have.
Don't forget you're talking to somebody from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So
my bad.
Well, you're from Chicago as well, where we can have those days where the high is 2 and windshield is like -12 or something like that. So 60-degree weather,
Normally we're in the 90s and then the 70s.
Oh, for sure.
But that tropical storm Beta is it's doing us a number right now. So we only got to a high of about 72 today and dipping into the 60s. But after it passes, we'll get back to our what we call Indian summer. That's when the fall starts, but it's still hot as hell. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. So we got 3 guests, so 3 new people, 3 new friends of the show. So I would like to ask, and you can divvy it up any way that you like. The 3 questions that we typically ask our new friends: A, where are you from? B, where are you now? And then what is your favorite moment as a fan, in this case, of the Atlanta Falcons?
Go ahead, Q.
You want to start with me? Okay. I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
Lived in Atlanta all my life. Went to college at the University of Georgia. So just moved a little bit away to go to college. So I've been in Atlanta all my life. And you guys ain't gonna like my favorite moment as a Falcon, but my favorite moment as a Falcon, if you guys are longtime Falcons fans or anybody that's a longtime Falcons fan, is when Deion Sanders was a 49er, came back to the Georgia Dome, got into a fist fight with Andre Rison, and the very next play took an interception to the house. I think it was 92 yards. Started high stepping at around the 40. That's one of my favorite moments because Deion started his career here in Atlanta, and I could never leave him. He always had a place in my heart. So that's me.
That's interesting. I never heard of somebody's favorite moment of their team go against them like that before. That's a new one for sure. Rock, how about you?
Originally, I'm from South Carolina because that's why I was laughing earlier when you mentioned South Carolina. But I've been here in Georgia since 1989, so I've been in Georgia longer than I was in South Carolina.
Sure.
So I'm there. And what was the other one? I'm sorry. The other question?
Where are you from? Where are you now? And your favorite moment as a fan?
Okay. From South Carolina, now still in downtown Georgia, Kirkwood. And my favorite moment as a Falcons fan had to be in the Super Bowl, man. We actually made it to the Super Bowl for the second time. I was here in the city when we did it the first time, but I wasn't as diehard as I was the second time we did it. Sure. So that was like to actually wake up that Sunday morning, put on my jersey, and get prepared for this game that, we made the Super Bowl and we were rolling.
That we blew?
Yeah. We're going to get
weren't
there
gonna
later.
Talk about that part. But okay.
It was the getting there part. Getting there part was my favorite moment. It's ironic. You can have the favorite moment of being a Falcons fan and the worst part of being a Falcons fan in the same day.
Yeah, all in the same breath. That's as a Bear fan, I know that very well. I definitely know that very well. So who's left? Who went first? Was it?
It's Aries.
Yeah, that's
Aries went first. So, okay.
No, Q went first. Rock went second.
Gotcha.
And me, I am from California. I live in California.
Okay.
Yeah. Been a Falcon fan since what was that 80, 88, 80, 86?
Yeah.
To answer that second that last question, mine's mostly like a two-parter that really hit me to like, okay, this is a team that I'm going to stand behind. Mm-hmm. It was Deion Sanders' first punt return, and me growing up, my older brother was a Rams fan.
Right.
So
I was gonna say it was against the Rams.
Yeah, he was a Rams fan, so I would watch the games with him. And going through school, I didn't want to be on the bandwagon with San Francisco and be a Raider fan. I hated, I hated Raider fans. I didn't like San Diego. Was nowhere near San Diego. So, I was trying to find my own team.
Right.
And it was a run back. He ran it, and it was like, oh my God, who's this guy? He was like, well, that's Deion. I'm like, well, that dude is sick. Like, so I was like, okay, this is the team I want because of Deion. Is what drew me into Atlanta. And so that was the team I stuck with. And then the part that really hit me was the game against the Minnesota Vikings when they went to the Super Bowl the first time. And when they was like, first time to the Super Bowl, I was like, oh man, this is great. That was that high, like, I was excited, I was happy. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, Jamal Anderson and the Dirty Bird.
And the Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
And he was the true Dirty Bird, we found out.
Yeah, all right. We have stories.
So I'm sure you do. So here we are, guys, headed into week 3. We got my 2-0 Bears and your 0-2 Falcons, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see how the game started against Dallas on Sunday, because the last thing that I wanted was to face Atlanta in an 0-2 hole. And it's like the last thing you want to do is corner a wounded animal, and that's exactly what an 0-2 team is, because there's just something about the difference between 0-2 and 0-3 is like your percentage to make the playoffs at 0-2 is this, and then it's practically 0 at 0-3. So, that's going to be a team that is going to fight until the very last moment, tooth and nail or talons and claws or whatever, just like with Falcons and whatnot. Right. And then the rest of the game happened on Sunday, and it just all fell apart, man. What went wrong in the last like 5 minutes of that game? You guys had a 15-point lead with 5 minutes to go in the football game.
Rock, go ahead.
That's a complex question. We love the Falcons. That's why we started this podcast, and we roll with them, whether good or bad. But unfortunately, we've had a lot of bads, and we've had a lot of unexcusable bads. And Sunday was like one of the most prime examples of that since the Super Bowl. And my personal point of view, beginning to end, we need a change in coaching and in upper management. What do you think, Q?
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, it's definitely the coaching. I mean, anyone that saw that onside kick realizes that's. That was just a blunder that I think coaching. That's on coaching, because
that absolutely is on coaching. Yeah,
they came out to the field. They saw the kicker sit the ball down. He set it down flat, which I guess that caught a lot of people off guard. And a lot of people don't see onside kicks where you just sit the ball on the ground with no tee. They called a timeout. So after they called the timeout, you're thinking, okay, they're going to figure something out, and onside kicks aren't always that successful. So you're like, hey, we're going to grab this one and everything's going to be all right. But as I watched the moments play out of that onside kick, it was like a bad dream.
Everybody's TV still in one piece. Everybody's TV still in one piece at the house, because I know things would have been flying around in my house if that happens. Pick up the ball.
Mine almost broke.
Not mine. I paid too much money for it.
So on our last podcast that just ended like 20 minutes ago, we had our feelings as to why the Falcons didn't recover that ball. Did you see the play, and do you have any comments on as to why you figure the Falcons didn't pick up that ball sooner?
Well, I'm mostly in agreement. It's poor coaching, because the receiving team can touch the ball whenever. Like, the moment it comes off the tee, it's a live ball for the receiving team. It's the kicking team that has to wait for it to go 10 yards before they touch it. Watching the play, it's clear that everyone in a Falcons uniform thought they had to wait 10 yards before the ball crossed before they could touch it as well. And the Cowboys just beat them to it when it actually went 10 yards. So it's poor coaching, and it's also a lack of awareness on the part of the guys that were actually on the field.
So there's a lot of drama behind this play, because there are some rules that say, as the receiving team, you can't pounce forward to retrieve the ball. You have to wait for it to at least go 5 yards, and then it's an eligible ball for you. But it's actually an offsides if you run forward after the ball's kicked. So some people are saying that there is a rule, and I've looked and I've seen it different ways on Google, but there is a rule that did come up in a national championship game in college, and then they said that it flows over to the NFL, and it's the same rule in the NFL. You got to wait for the ball to go 5 yards. You can't just automatically load the box and then just run forward and pounce, or else throwing an outside kick wouldn't be a factor, because it wouldn't exist. So there's something out there where, we've been looking, and I've been looking, and I'm seeing different things, but from what I've seen, there is some type of rule where it has to go 5 yards at least before you can jump on it, and you can't approach the ball ahead of time. Right. So maybe there was some miscommunication. I don't know, but I mean, these are pros. They should be practicing this stuff every week. So yeah, it's still a disappointment either way. But
yeah, I mean, he kicked it in such an odd way. It was like basically like spinning like an egg on the turf there. But I mean, it spent plenty of time between yards 5 and 10 for those guys to jump on it. I mean, and they just all sat there like it was a live grenade, and nobody wanted to pounce on top of it. And the Cowboys have it, and it's the next thing you know, the game is over, because they're kicking the field goal that puts them over and wins the game. It's just, you just was like, these are professionals, man. These guys are pros. They should know this stuff. And yet they all sat there like they're a bunch of rubes that had never played the game before.
We talked about that a little bit, and we've listened to local radio when we have our coach actually on, talking, after the game and giving as much as he can a description of what happened. And of course, you're going to get the coach speak, but I believe he said that they knew what they were supposed to do. It was just a lapse pressure situation and judgment, which I don't buy, but I can kind of understand that if it's going an unusual way of doing that, you don't want to be the person to screw it up, Yeah,
I get that. I absolutely do. I mean, and I was just thinking that right before you said it was like maybe these guys didn't want to be the one that screwed it up because of the moment that's before them. It's a 2-point game now. If they get this back, they can go ahead and win this thing.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
You're forgetting the one thing, Rock.
What's that?
They saw him put the ball down. They saw he was going to kick it in a way that wasn't typical.
Yeah. And they called a timeout.
And they called a timeout to prepare for it. And that's what they came out with after a timeout. If they didn't call a timeout, you'd be like, damn, they should have called a timeout. And that's how we'd all let it go. We'd all let it go like, damn, they should have called a timeout.
Right.
No, they called the timeout. And that's the part that makes it so hard to like watch that play and like just see it happen and go,
But see, I rather them jump on the ball and take the penalty if there is one, rather than have the risk of the Cowboys recovering it. So I mean,
the penalty from what I saw is a re-kick. So if they would have crossed that line, it would have been a re-kick. But no, Aries, I would have been happy with a re-kick because now you get extra time to prepare. Now you essentially get 2 timeouts to prepare.
And you know the rule.
Exactly.
Because they tell you.
Exactly.
So why not take that risk? I just jump on the ball and say, you know what I'm saying, that they're not going to get it, and just take that risk of them either calling on the flag or whatever.
I agree with that. I'd rather somebody be overzealous than to sit there and wait until it's too late.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened to you guys. But I have a different philosophy on why it is the Falcons are 0-2. And it doesn't have anything to do with the defense giving up 39 points a game so far. It doesn't have anything to do with the coaching. The reason for this downfall or this bad start began back in, I believe, April, when you released those god-awful brand new uniforms that you guys wear.
Come on, bro. Come on, man.
You dress good, you play good, man, and you guys do not look good.
Why are you hating on the unis?
Ass uniforms.
Are you
Come
serious? Those things are fire.
The easiest color scheme in sports.
He's quoting Deion Sanders.
And white. The easiest color scheme, and I don't know, pardon my language, boys, but I don't know how you fuck that up. I really don't. When those uniforms came out, now you're talking to someone who's been an artist pretty much his whole life. I'm a self-proclaimed uniform snob. When those unis came out, I was looking forward to it. I was like, hey, maybe they'll go back to the red helmets, like from back in the day, and like when Deion first joined the team, they had the red helmets, and they didn't switch to black until Jerry Glanville came to town. It's like maybe they'll go back to that, or maybe red will be the primary color again. And then they're releasing. It's like, this is the most basic shit I've ever seen in my life. How did they put this? What did they say no to? If this is what they're like, yeah, thumbs up. This is it. This is what we're going with. And you guys, it's like the circus must be in town because the Falcons are dressed like clowns. Man, they all look bad. It's not pretty at all. And don't even get me started on those gradient uniforms that fade.
I'll give you that.
Like,
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. The ones that fade from red to black are kind of like, okay, this is like a gimmick or something. But that all black with those matte black helmets, I'm sorry, that's clean.
Exactly. I'm with you.
That's all
nice.
Black.
But the numbers, and then that ATL plate, it's too big. I don't know what's going on with the numbers. They're like pointy, and then it also looks like they're like 80% of the jersey. The numbers aren't supposed to take up that much of the uniform, and they're just so basic. It's like, come on. And y'all had some of the best uniforms in football before that. You were fixing what ain't broke.
When you're looking at your uniforms, I would want the number to cover the entire jersey. So, I mean, because that hideous blue with the orange stripes, I mean, come on, who was the genius behind that one?
And is that a real C on the side of the helmet, or fucking? Sorry, I didn't know if we can curse or not, but
toilet bowl seats. I mean, come on, let's just be real. It looks like a toilet bowl seat.
You can't talk about the Bears uni, man. That's classic.
You guys look like the Giants.
It hasn't changed, and it's never going to, because how dare you?
It needs to change. It's old school. It's old school.
Nah, man. The perfect
green. Yellow and green is the worst combination I can ever put together. But I mean, the Packers uniforms look better than yours. I'm sorry.
Come on now, them fighting words, man. Where I need to go? South Carolina, Georgia, California.
No. Georgia, California.
Yeah, I'm in California. We talk the ish.
But honestly, when was the last time the Bears updated a uniform? It's been recently, right?
When they did the Nike switch, when Nike took over, the numbers went from the side onto the shoulders. That was literally the only change to the uniform.
And when was that? What year was that?
2013, something like that.
Okay.
But as far as like the numbers, like nobody has the numbers that we have, and like the style of numbers, things like that. It's it's a classic uniform. It should never change.
Yeah, kind of reminds me like Commodore 64. Yeah. 80s.
That's all right though. They'll be wearing the prettiest uniforms in the NFL on Sunday when they wear the white tops and the blue bottoms. That's the sexiest uniform in football.
Oh, so y'all wearing white tops? Okay, so that means we're wearing all black.
So
we're coming all black then.
Well,
yeah, so we're wearing all black again, because I thought with us being a home team that they would have on their all whites. And the all whites is clean too.
Yeah, the only uniforms that I liked that y'all released were the quote unquote throwbacks, which was basically like the early '90s uniform with the regular varsity numbers, and it was like that's the uni that I like. That's the y'all should wear 24/7, not the.
I agree with you.
Not the nonsense y'all are wearing now. I mean,
can I call a pause right now?
Sure.
I want to call a pause right now. We've mentioned Deion Sanders' name at least like 3 or 4 times during this podcast. So big shout out to Deion Sanders. That's all I'm saying right now. Why are we talking about Deion Sanders so much? But both ways, we've mentioned Deion Sanders' name tonight. And he took a head coaching job on it.
Yeah, he did.
So maybe we can talk about that later. But anyways, let's get back to it. But I just wanted to say,
an entrance to his press conference like he was a conconquering emperor or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, Saddam taking over the country again? What's going on?
Oh, Lord,
Police brigade and everything, man. It was crazy. I watched it. But hey, that chick that got out of the car with him, I was like, good Lord have mercy. Deion still got it.
Is that his wife?
Deion's
I don't know if that's his girlfriend or his wife or who it is, but like you said.
I saw that. I had to do a triple take. So yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Anyway. So that was my idea. Like, y'all are being punished for putting those uniforms out there for public consumption. That's why you're 0-2. But for real, what is the story with the Falcons? Because it's like I'm worried about this game, not only because of the 0-2 thing and a team desperate not to be 0-3, but it's obvious that even though the defense is having trouble, stopping opposing offenses, but y'all are racking up the points as well. And I'm caught in the middle of I'm afraid of a team that can put up the points because I'm not sure my offense can keep up. Against the fact like, well, maybe facing your defense is just the just what the doctor ordered for the Bears offense. It's like, which side of the fence should I be more worried about here?
Do you want me to sum it up real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll sum it up real quick. Last team with the ball. This is gonna be like watching a USC game against any team USC ever played. It's the last
why are you
team.
Why are you going to bring my college team into it though?
I'm just saying, there's no defense.
You could have said the Georgia Bulldogs.
No,
they've had some tight games too.
Georgia,
they've had but they've had some tight games to where they've blown leads too.
Yeah, they have.
Leave my SC Trojans out of it, bro.
It's the last. Hey,
our city is cursed.
I'm gonna say though, it's the last team with the ball, and that's kind of how I was. As the game went on Sunday, and I was watching it, I was like thinking to myself, "It's crazy considering we were up like 20-0 or whatever it was." But I was like, "This game's gonna come down to the last team with the ball," and it did.
I hear you, Q, and I tweeted it out during the game because I saw someone else tweet it as well, and it's so true. As the motto for our team is no lead is safe, and they pretty much hammered that home on Sunday. You can't become happy until the clock is at 0.
Which is crazy when you have Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley.
Exactly. Matt Ryan and Grady Jarrett. And the list goes on.
The list goes on. It's just crazy. It'd be like if the Chicago Bulls couldn't win a game. You'd be like, it's almost what it's like right now in Atlanta. I mean, we have we literally have an all-star team. Pro Bowlers. Calvin Ridley's going to go to the Pro Bowl. Julio Jones is going to the Pro Bowl. Matt Ryan should probably go to the Pro Bowl. Right. I mean, offensively, we got Pro Bowl players, but we're not winning games.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just like when because on one side it's like, man, the defense has got to be terrible so far this year. They're getting off to a slow start and whatnot. But then you look at it, it's like it's the Cowboys who've got a track team on offense. They got a beast of a running back. They got Dak Prescott. They went out and got CeeDee Lamb. It's like they've got weapons on top of weapons. And you faced the Seahawks week 1. It's Russell Wilson. It's what's that? Metcalf and all those guys on that side. It's like, okay, so they faced some really good offenses thus far, but 38 points week 1, 40 week 2. Is this going to be a season where you guys are going to have to outscore, like literally outscore the opponents because the defense can't stop anybody?
No.
I mean, yeah, I just said it. I mean, it's the last person with the ball. It's like watching, Aries, don't get upset. It's like watching a USC game back in the day. They had Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart. Last person with the ball wins.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like how it's going to be.
Y'all know Matt Leinart was trash, so.
Well,
our defense can't be trusted. Yeah, we can't trust it, and we still have issues that needs to be thoroughly addressed. And
now we have injuries.
Yeah, and injuries on top of that. So it's always been an issue, and some folks would say, a change of culture, which could mean an also change of philosophy as far as we're known as being a high-powered offense. Maybe we should start focusing on building the defense.
Sure. I mean, there's always kind of like when it talks to, especially when it comes to defenses, it becomes the chicken and the egg, the vicious cycle, which comes first. And, it's like, for the Bears for a long time, it was, well, we can't get to the passer, but, it's like we can't get to the passer because the secondary is bad. And, so we don't have enough time. The guys are always open immediately. Right. Things like that. Are those the kind of problems that we're looking at with the Falcons? You're having trouble rushing the passer, so guys have plenty of time to get open, and so on and so forth?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
I think they fixed that problem already.
No, we didn't.
You think they fixed that problem this season?
We're working on it, but we haven't fixed it yet.
Are you looking at the game entirety, like the final overall points, or are you watching moments in the game to where the defense does their job, but the fact that the offense has a 3-and-out or a turnover, they have to come right back on the field and do it all over again?
I saw that the offense had a couple 3-and-outs, and that's fine, but they still put up a lot of points. If you put up that many points in a game, you should win the game.
What was the score at halftime?
I don't remember. What was it? 20 to 10. And then what was the score at the end of the third, though?
Okay, but at the end of the half, that defense did their job. They held the team. Now when they come out, and now you have what?
But the score at the end of the third quarter, though.
But you lose Alford. You lose DeMonte Casey. You lose Dante Fowler, and you lose who else?
Aries, I hear you, and I love you, brother. What I'm trying to say is, though, we've had these same guys for years, and we still lost games. So why should I feel differently on Sunday? We had those guys for years, and we still lost games. Why should I feel like this year's a better year for these guys?
We haven't had those same guys for years. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Most of them we have.
Most of them we have.
At least
Aries.
3-4 years.
Alford was hurt.
But we had true fun.
Okay, but we had most of those same guys for years and the same outcome.
Dude, I don't understand.
It's the definition of insanity. You don't really change anything, but you expect a different outcome. The Falcons got what they deserved on Sunday, and I hate to see it happen to them. And I hate to see them blow a big lead like that, but we look like fools. And now I think we're kind of like the joke of the NFL right now, personally, because everyone I talk to thinks we're a joke.
Well, I don't think you guys are a joke, and I'm not just saying that because I have you on my show or anything like that. Like, I'm genuinely worried about what can happen on Sunday. Now, granted, my defense has played pretty well in the first two games. But, like I said, I'm worried about not so much about the I'm worried about whether or not my team can keep up with yours. Like if your offense comes out and scores another, 30 points or which your offense is completely capable of doing, can my offense keep pace with yours to make it a true shootout like the Dallas game ended up being? To me, that's the real question about how this game is going to go down. If our defense can slow yours down.
Do you keep Nick Foles on the bench, or do you put him in? Because that's the question.
Yeah, well, it's
I
like
don't think your quarterback can keep up with ours.
right. No, and I don't think so either. But as far as like
agree.
putting points on the board, it's going to come down to whether or not our defense can slow you guys down, and we have the horses to do it. I completely believe that, but we've gotten off to a slow start in these last couple of weeks. Now, granted, statistically, we did very well against the Giants. We slowed them down. We only allowed 13 points. We knuckled down when we needed to, to keep it, a 17-13 a game. But at the same time, we had this game 17-3 in the fourth quarter, and we let the Giants back into it to where it literally came down to the last play of the game. And that does make you nervous when you're going to face a team that has the firepower that the Falcons have. And the other thing with the offense is like, yeah, we got off to a fast start on Sunday against the Giants, but we scored 0 points in the second half. So, that kind of gives you pause as to what's capable, come Sunday. And God forbid the Falcons put a couple of drives together. Do we have what we need in order to keep up with you guys? And I'm not sure that we do. So that's where
I think that you do. I think that you do. I honestly think that you do.
Well, I think we're capable of it.
we
I
take
just haven't
average
seen us do
quarterbacks.
it yet. Yeah, I just
but-
haven't seen us do it yet. So
But as a
that's the
Falcons
thing.
fan, we take average quarterbacks, and believe me, you guys have an average quarterback. We take average quarterbacks and make them look like rock stars. I mean,
We do have that
something
habit.
that we do.
Yeah.
It's just something we do. So, but I'm worried, man. I'm worried we're gonna start off 1-4. We got you guys on Sunday. When I see you're gonna beat us, I think you're gonna beat us. We got to go to Green Bay right after that, and then the first 1-win game of the season I think we do have is the week after that is when we play Carolina. I think this Falcons team starts off 1-4. Unfortunately.
Well, I think you guys might be able to get a few of those games back because your first 4 games, Seattle, Dallas, Chicago on Sunday, and then next week you're Monday night against Green Bay in Lambeau. Then the next 4 are Carolina, at Minnesota, Detroit, and then at Carolina on Thursday night. Now, I know that we can all agree. Well, number one, in those 4 games, the probability of facing Christian McCaffrey are low at this point because he's 4 to 6 weeks with that high ankle sprain. So you might not face him at all. And they don't have much outside of him on the offensive side. Minnesota is not playing very well at all right now. So you might be able to sneak one out against them. And then we all know about the Lions. I mean, you want to talk about a team that's the joke of the NFL right now. It's the Lions, not you guys. So, I mean, everybody
I do agree
hyping
with
up the
that.
Lions.
All Chicago fans don't hate the Lions.
You know what? And I don't hate the Lions. I'm just saying that they were overhyped going into the season. They had people like Peter King saying they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be that 7th seed. They're going to make the playoffs this year and blah, blah, blah. And then 2 games so far, they blew a huge fourth quarter lead to the Bears week 1. And then they got out fast on Green Bay and ended up getting smoked like 40-20 or something like that as well. And it's like Matt Patricia's been the head coach of that team for 34 games, and he's won 9 so far. So, I mean, this is a guy that was going to come in and change the culture, and they were going to be, New England West with him as the head coach. He's basically done everything he could to alienate everybody who didn't want to toe the line. So that's why Darius Slay's in Philadelphia, Quandre Diggs is in Seattle. He's basically run everybody out of town so that he could have his guys, and he's getting 0 results out there, and they're looking really, really bad in the process. So if you want to talk about a team that's the laughingstock or a joke of the NFL, it's Detroit, not Atlanta. So, you guys in that second half, that second quarter of the season, those 4 games, whether you're 1-3 or 0-4, whatever it is, I feel like you guys can do pretty well in getting a lot of those wins back with that 4-game slate coming up after this.
I mean, it's
Go ahead, Rock. I mean, it's simple stuff like a team like Detroit. Matthew Stafford would come in and look like an all-star. I mean, you got to remember, this is Atlanta Falcons team that lost to the Cardinals last year. We lost to the Tennessee Titans, and 2 weeks after we lost to the Tennessee Titans, their starting quarterback lost his starting job. I mean, but he was good enough to beat the Falcons. So I mean, it's just
we just have internal issues, personnel issues that we are still facing, and we're still making adjustments for it. I don't think the Falcons are a great team. They have the capabilities of being a great team. Everyone sees it, and everyone in Dallas knows that they got lucky. There wouldn't be anyone from Dallas that said that they didn't get lucky and won that game. And that's what we do.
I agree.
We're chokers, and we can't dance around it. We choke, and it's not just our football team. It's a basketball team. I mean, the best team that we have here is the soccer team. But, it's been like that for a while. But we still support them. We still push with them. And we want to see, we want them to win, man. But it's just like you get so frustrated as a fan that it's hard to defend a lot,
Yeah.
It's hard, but we do. Every Sunday, I'll be there next, have my jersey on. I'll watch the game. I'm not going to be at the stadium, but I'll watch the game because I love the Falcons.
I know the feeling, man. I mean, I lived through the Mark Trestman and John Fox eras. I mean, that was a long 5 years for me, and especially those last three with John Fox. I mean, talk about the definition of insanity. Right. Just doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. It's like, John, it's not 1985 anymore. You can't run the ball 85% of the time especially when the Bears had no offensive weapons outside of our running back, and we're facing 9-man boxes, and we're just poor Jordan Howard having to plow into the wall of humanity on first and second down. And then, of course, typically we try to throw the ball on third down, and we're punting on fourth down and averaging like 14 points a game and wondering why we're 3-13. So, I mean, I definitely know the feeling of having, especially like with us being podcasters, then you got to go on and do a show about losing your sixth game in a row and trying to, talk yourself into, showing up for next week and doing next week's episode when all you want to do is release a 40-minute episode of you screaming fuck into the microphone. And it just, that's how it feels when you have teams that can't get it done on a consistent basis. You just want to sit there and scream. And, for my show, I've been doing it since 2007. So I've gone through a lot with this team. Started with Lovey, and here we are now with Matt Nagy as the coach. We've been through, 2 different GMs, and this is my 4th coach now that I've been, since I've been doing the podcast. It's been a lot. You don't get to 4 different head coaches if your team is doing well. Right. So, in the 13, 14 seasons I've been doing it, I've got 4 head coaches, and right now, if this season doesn't go well, my 15th season might start with head coach number 5. So it's, I definitely know the feeling of trying to come out here and support a team that at times doesn't deserve it. It's like you don't deserve the love that your fan base gives you sometimes, and it's hard to go out there and do that. I mean, we were 8-8 last year, and it was probably one of the worst seasons I've been through in a long time, just because it was such a frustrating year to sit and watch. I mean, and it's just, but you got to do the show. You made this commitment to yourself and to the people that listen to you. Exactly. You got to go out and do it. And it's so hard to do sometimes, man. It really is. And, but that's the definition of being a fan is, you have love for the team, whether they love you back or not. So, and a lot of times our teams don't love us back, but we'll be there for them this Sunday and next Sunday and the Sunday after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, because one of the big things that I was wondering was coming into this season, I mean, especially with COVID really basically hamstringing everybody into not having an off season, is which one of those Falcons teams was going to show up this year? The one that started 1-7 or the one that finished 6-2 and saved Dan Quinn's job? I was like wondering which one of those teams was were they going to pick up where they left off, or were they basically just going to start from the beginning again like they did last year? I mean, do you guys think you're back in 1-7 mode right now, or is just a bump in the road until you get it figured out?
Aries.
Oh, that was direct to me. Okay. I mean, I think right now, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm the person who's hoping that they pick up where they left off. But after these last 2 games,
Right.
you know, despite the injuries in that second half of the game, we win that. So
How bad has the injury bug bit y'all so far?
just pretty hard, because just that last game against the Bears, I think 5 people went out.
Yeah. Yeah. We had.
that last game against the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
We're probably the worst bug injured team, probably behind San Francisco.
Didn't the
I was going to say, I think the 49ers might want to argue with you on that one. But
I'll give them that. I'll give them that one all day.
2 big players for the whole year. Our players might be out 2 to 4 weeks.
yeah.
So
is it no Dante Fowler this weekend?
Well, right now they hadn't really said anything.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
I've heard the coach today, and he didn't say. He was more optimistic that we'll have everybody back. He didn't really say anything about concerned that someone won't make it back. So far, it seems like everyone will be back.
Okay. All right. So banged up, but at full strength team on the for the Falcons on Sunday. So, all right. Well, despite all the negative talk, what's going well for the Falcons? Is the offense the lone bright spot? Do we have anything to be happy about on the defense besides the quick start they got against Dallas and then gave up a 20-0 lead, and here we are right now at 0-2?
Oh, wow.
That's a very good question. I don't want to take that question because it's so good. Aries, Rock?
I would say watch out for our wide receivers. They are on a tear. And, you can't stop them unless, it's like we have Julio Jones. Everyone knows Julio Jones. But Calvin Ridley is Julio Jones Jr. And Russell Gage is right there with him. So we have a triple threat in our wide receiving core.
I like your tight end, too.
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst, yeah. And that's, I don't think this game, Hayden Hurst is going to be much of a factor because they have Mac. So.
Okay.
And on the defensive side of the ball, we do have one consistent player that never gets the glory that he deserves, and that's Grady Jarrett.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's that is one of our best defensive players, if you ask me.
Is he a nose or is he an end? Which one? What is he? He's an inside.
He's a tackle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a tackle.
So he's on the inside. So we'll be able to double him, hopefully.
You can try.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like with our offensive line, I feel like we're better in the middle than we are on the outside. We've played very, very well on the offensive line thus far. It was a big gamble for Chicago and very little that Ryan Pace could do. A, because we had some salary cap restrictions, and B, everybody on the offensive line outside of our new starting right guard, Jermaine Ifedi, basically is locked into a contract till like 2021, 2022. So there was very little maneuvering he could do as far as like changing personnel. So our big offseason acquisition for the offensive line was Juan Castillo, a brand new offensive line coach. So basically we're just changing the philosophy up front, and everyone was like, oh God, can he polish the turd that was our offensive line last year? And 2 games in, we're averaging over 100 yards rushing per game, which last year that was impossible. And no holding calls, no false starts so far, which was another epidemic with those guys last year. So I mean, small sample size, only 2 games in, but Juan Castillo is an offensive line coaching god right now, as far as I'm concerned, with these guys. But our weak points are the outside with Leno and Massey. So, those would be the guys that I would try to get after on Sunday if there's a way you guys could scheme that. Is Keanu Neal much of a blitzer? Depending.
Yeah.
So it's not something that Quinn does often, is send, Neal on a blitz or anything like that?
No, right now, I think he's the one he likes to have blitz is the cornerback.
Okay, sure.
So they had two cornerback blitzes last week, and one hit home. So
yeah, I was gonna say one of them got home, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he? Wasn't one of the fumbles at the start of the game? Because I watched the highlights and I know there was like a strip sack or something like that in there early on that led to the 20-0 lead.
He got a sack. I don't know if one of the fumbles came from that sack, but he did get a sack.
Yeah, because I watched the highlights online yesterday and was watching it. You just kind of wonder how the game got away from him, and then the rest of the highlights pop. I'm like, oh, that's how it happened. So.
Yeah, and once he did his research, is what he's saying.
Yeah, and well, it's like I watched the highlights, so I watched 12 minutes of a 3-hour game. So, I did, at least see how the game actually unfolded, on Sunday and everything. So it just, I know that Zeke got butterfingers on one, like the ball just seemed to just drop right out of his hands, and y'all recovered that and were able to put points on the board for it. So very opportunistic early on. Right. Were there no turnovers in the second half? Is that how it was that the Cowboys were able to rack up the points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. None in the second half.
Because a lot of the people who caused those turnovers were hurt.
Right. Okay. So what happened to Fowler? Was it like a knee or a shoulder or something like that?
Right now, I think it's his shoulder.
Shoulder. Yeah. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So is it a consensus? Do you guys think the Bears are going to win on Sunday? I think it was it Aries that voted for Chicago to win on Sunday already?
No.
How does everybody feel?
No.
Aries is the long person this time.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys think you guys can pull it off?
I think Atlanta pulls this out.
I don't know how they pull it out.
I'm still so disgusted with what I saw Sunday. It's hard for me to, with confidence, say that could happen, because it's not that they are bad players. It's just you never know what this coaching staff is going to cause to screw up whatever lead that they may have. And
this reminds me of last season, and the way we started off. We got into a hole, and then we started digging our way out of the hole, but it was too little, too late. And I think this season's the same way.
Yeah,
I honestly think this team starts off 1-5,
and until they can,
1-4, 1-4.
Yeah, and until we can stop doing the same mistakes over and over and being so predictable, which comes with play calling and coaching, I don't see us making it to the playoffs, really.
Yeah, and for me, like
division.
I said, I don't think this division is going to turn out to be the tough out that it was looking to be at the beginning of the season. I mean, because already New Orleans and Tampa Bay look human. New Orleans made Tampa Bay look human, and then the Raiders make New Orleans look human yesterday on Monday night. So, Carolina has their issues, and you guys are already 0-2. So it's like it's not looking good in the NFC South right now, where it was like in the beginning. Y'all might have 3 playoff teams come out of this division, and right now, with the way the division is looking, is like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 2. But obviously 1 is going to make it, but it would be a struggle to get a second one in there.
I think the Saints will be just fine.
Right.
They tripped on the banana peel last night, but that's a good ass Saints team. Their defense was flying around. Listen, Atlanta right now.
Drew Brees looked old.
Doesn't want any of that.
Drew Brees looked old.
Yeah, but they were just, Atlanta right now doesn't want any of that New England team right now.
Yeah. So, but my concern for Sunday, we talked about it earlier, is whether or not if my defense can slow you guys down, then I love our chances. because I think the team that we have is, it's because, like you said, Mitch is a average quarterback, and he had to improve to become average this year so far. He's playing better than he did last year. You guys should have heard me at halftime of that Detroit game. I was done. I was like, that's it. I'm not going to watch Mitch do this again. I watched him do it throughout 2019. 2019 was supposed to be that big leap year for him. It did not happen. He regressed. He got, it was a mess. And here we are. We have a better option on the bench than what we had last year. Last year, the other option was Chase Daniel. Now the other option is a Super Bowl MVP in Nick Foles. I'm not going to sit here. I don't have the patience to watch Mitch do this again. I don't have the patience to watch him do it again. And then he comes out and he's a hero in the fourth quarter. Okay, fine. So he gets to start week 2. He plays better against the Giants. He's being more consistent. But like you said, he's improved to just be an average quarterback at this point. And I don't know if we're good enough on offense to keep up with you guys if we can't stop you. So that's the caveat. If we can slow you down, I think we'll win relatively easy. But if we can't, if it becomes a track meet and a shootout, I'll take you guys all day. And if I had to be a betting man about it, I would pick the Falcons to win on Sunday. Wow. That's just the way I feel.
Wow, that's crazy. I meant earlier. I said New England. I meant New Orleans. But anyways,
well, I actually thought you were referring to. I thought you were referring. Yeah, they do.
They call him Big Dick Nick.
When you said
Big Dick Nick could still beat us. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I thought when you said New England, you were referring to Tampa Bay, since they got half their roster down there anyway.
Yeah, I thought that you were talking about as well.
Well, we do have an inside bet, an inside joke going. Should I mention it? Right?
No.
Yeah, okay, we won't mention it.
No.
We have a joke going with.
Listen to our podcast if you want to know about that.
Okay, yeah.
All right, cool.
We'll just let it go.
There you go.
Right.
That's the teaser, man. That's how you got to suck them in. It's like, you want to hear the inside joke? Listen to What's Up Falcon on the Armchair Network.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Google it. You'll be able to find them.
Exactly.
But I think
Q personally thinks Saints win this division easily. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, they've already beaten Tampa Bay once. Why couldn't they do it again? So, all right, fellas, let's wrap this up. So it's going to go down on Sunday. Hopefully everybody comes out healthy, because week 2 is a disaster across the league. Right. And frankly, I thought that's what week 1 was going to look like, because no preseason. Thanks to the CBA, these guys basically aren't allowed to touch each other in practice and things like that. And then you got to start week 1 cold and go from 0 to 60 just like that. And I thought it was ripe for injuries to occur. Like, I thought week 1 was going to be a bloodbath, and it was relatively uneventful. But then this past Sunday happened, and guys started dropping like flies. So hopefully everyone can remain healthy. My beloved have been fairly immune.
I think it's going to get worse. I watched
you know what? And
I watched
and
Hard
that's
Knocks,
why
and those guys weren't touching each other. So
right, exactly. So I mean, and that's why I still fingers crossed. Make sure I say my prayers to the football gods before I go to bed every night. Say watch out for my boys in Navy and Orange, because we're not really built to be a team that's got to try to play with the next man up, as I don't think we're really built for that this year. So hopefully everyone can stay healthy on both sides, and we have a good game on Sunday that's worth talking about.
Definitely.
All right, guys,
so
where can we?
Said we want to do predictions.
Didn't we do it already?
Yeah, we did it already.
I picked the Falcons. Who's not picking the Bears?
Did everybody pick?
Yeah.
I picked the Bears. Okay. I'm sorry.
I think you're the lone.
I'm not picking the Bears to win.
Yeah, I think you're the only one.
I didn't remember hearing Aries.
Even the Bears guy isn't picking the Bears. So it's the 0-3 hole. It's the offense that we might have trouble keeping track with, and I just think it's more probable that you guys will outscore us than we'll be able to outscore you. That's So that's my concern. So I'm just I
Attract me.
think
Here we go. Attract
well,
me.
it's I say the same thing every week for my review episode or my preview episodes, like especially with the lousy football teams that we've had over the years. Can we win on Sunday? Absolutely. We can absolutely win the game. We can beat the Falcons, and we need this, and this happen. Will we win? No.
So what's your record so far then?
It's pretty good.
Sunday.
Actually, it is. I mean, and that's the sport. I mean, that's what makes football so great is the any given Sunday aspect of it. I mean, as a Bears fan, we've had some pretty lousy teams win some pretty amazing games. One of my favorite ever was a Monday night game late in like the 2009 season. The Bears are just playing the games because the NFL says they have to. Like the season's been over for weeks now, but they're playing. It's a Monday night game, week 16. They're bringing in the Minnesota Vikings, Monday Night Football, and this was the great Favre team that went to the NFC Championship game, and we beat them in overtime. With no business beating this team, and we beat them in overtime. It's known as the Devin Aromashadu game because this one kid who's been a nobody on the roster forever caught like 12 passes for 146 yards, including the 40-yarder in overtime to win the game, like a walk-off touchdown to win it, and then we never heard from him again.
What was that name again?
Devin Aromashadu.
Never heard of him.
Exactly.
Never heard of him, but
I never hear from him again.
But he's a Chicago legend because he kicked the crap out of Minnesota when we had no business beating that team. They come into Soldier Field and we beat them. Took overtime to do it, but we beat this team that was like 13-3, and because of us, they did not get home field advantage. That's why they had to play that NFC Championship game in the Superdome that year, not in Minnesota.
Wow. That name.
And I'm sorry.
That sounds like a name
what's your record so far this season?
Hold on, Q. That sounds like a name of a porn star.
Devin Aromashadu sounds like a porn name.
African born porn star.
All right.
I think we just stop there. It's like how do we top the conversation when Devin Aromashadu is a porn name?
An African porn star name.
African porn star with those mixed signals.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I not say that? Was that funny? I thought that was funny.
All right.
He said that's all right. Hey, what's your record so far? What's your record so far?
This year, I thought we'd win both games so far this year, so I'm 2-0 thus far.
Okay.
My picks, but I also thought that we'd steamroll the Lions and the Giants, and that didn't happen in either case. So yeah. So maybe this will be an easy win, and I'll take my first L. As far as making picks this year, I got no problem with that. I got no problem. Either way, I win.
So.
You know what I'm saying? I'm picking them to lose it. If they win, I still win. So there you go. So
Everybody's a winner.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this has been fun. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Where can we find What's Up Falcons?
You can check us out on Twitter at What's Up Falcons, or you can also check us out at whatsupfalcons.com. You can check us out definitely exclusively at Armchair All American, and we're on Spotify, Pandora, all your local podcast
outlets.
Exactly, and iTunes definitely.
All right, so we got Q, we got Rock, we got Aries. Thanks so much for being on the show, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.
Check out the What's Up Falcons podcast exclusively at armchairallamericans.com. Subscribe to the What's Up Falcons podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. Listen to the What's Up Falcons podcast at whatsupfalcons.com.